Hello again. It's end of Thanksgiving weekend, and I wanted to end on a different note, very high quality, but a different note. So we are going with a Cabernet today from Foreman by Rick Foreman. We discussed that at length. We discussed Foreman at length when we reviewed the 2007 Cabernet together. This is a 2012. I bought a bunch of 2012 after I tasted that amazing 2007. 2012 was also a great year in Napa, as we know. The first sort of year after a few that weren't so good, and then after that you had 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 amazing years. Anyway, and I just wanted to taste this bottle. 2012, I think, was a different year than 2007. First, you've had this 5 more years in the bottle. Second, I think 2012, in some wines I've has a sort of a lot more fruit forward exuberance, and others not so much. So we see. And just a brief background on Foreman again. He started in the early 80s, his own winery. He was in Napa for a while before that, working with the likes of Breur and Sterling and Mondavi. He went to UC Davis, so he's got checks all the boxes. He built his own winery in the rocks at the bottom of Mount Howell, really, literally in the rocks, with a cellar deep down, and the winery itself with the rocks and the stones he dug out of the mountain. It's sloped, it's not terraced, and he makes a Cabernet blend and Chardonnay. The Chardonnay is 100% Chardonnay. The Cabernet blend is 75% Cabernet, 15 Cabernet Franc, and 5 and 5 Merlot and Petit Verdot. Very stable blend. This is basically what he grows, so it's coming from. It's kind of designed this way, and he makes just really amazing Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's a classic, and among people who really like Napa. So here we are. I opened this yesterday. We had most of it. There's some left. If you can look at the color here, it's obviously very, very dark. It is Cabernet-like. It's got a little bit of purple tint to it, which is just a little bit unusual, but I mean, it's still within the range. But it's just really deep and kind of what you'd expect. On the nose, it's got that sort of beautiful mix of not very floral, more fruit than the sort of on the nose than the 2007, but has this sort of really more of a cherry, a little bit of a sour cherry. It's a little bit less sweet on the nose. Sour cherry, sort of hard candy, those sort of tones. I don't really get berries yet. Maybe a little bit of raspberry. Some of the more tart fruits, I would say. But a little bit of alcohol too. Of course, these guys are very alcoholic, 14.5%, so it makes sense. In the mouth, it's still primarily a very strong, what I would call semi-bitterness. So it's very powerful, but it's kind of trying to make up its mind between the fruit and some of the other evolution. So to me, it's a wine that hasn't quite yet evolved yet, and there's a little bit of a fight going on. Because you've got the tartness, you've got the very fine tannins, not a lot of acidity. The finish is a little bit more fruity, so it's a kind of a little bit strange from that point of view. But I just think it's really interesting to be able to taste a wine during that. I think it's just like a phase of its evolution that you're getting a snapshot. It's going to be very different in 5 years. It was probably very different 5 years ago, like a lot of the 2012s where we had together a realm. Talking on 2012 in France 6 months ago, that was really just ready. So I think it really depends. I have more of these. I think the next one's not going to be for another 3 or 4 years, but I was very happy to taste this right now and see how a wine of such quality evolves once you get this snapshot. Still very nice to drink. It's not what you'd expect from a fuller Napa Cabernet because there's still this tension going on, but very, very interesting and well worth the wait for the next stage of evolution. Cheers.